In a marriage, love doesn't always fade, but sometimes it starts to feel invisible. A woman who once felt like the center of her partner's world can slowly begin to feel like just another part of his routine. It's not that she stops loving him, it's that she starts feeling unseen, unheard, and unappreciated, and that feeling, more than anything else, can open the door to temptation. At the start of a relationship, everything is exciting. There are deep conversations, stolen glances, affectionate touches, and late night whispers. She feels adored, cherished, and truly desired, but as the years go by, life takes over. Work, kids, bills, responsibilities, they all pile up. The sweet messages turn into reminders about errands. The passionate kisses become quick pecks on the cheek, and the deep conversations get replaced with small talk about schedules. It's not that the love is gone, it's just buried under the weight of daily life. That's when the loneliness creeps in. She may not even realize it at first, but then, one day, she meets someone who listens a little more closely, who compliments her in a way she hasn't heard in years, who looks at her like she's fascinating, beautiful, and full of life. And suddenly, she feels something she didn't even know she was missing. It's not about seeking out another man, it's about seeking out a version of herself that she thought had disappeared. For most women, cheating isn't about lust or thrill seeking, it's about connection. It's about feeling valued, it's about hearing words that make her heart race again. When she feels emotionally neglected at home, even the smallest amount of attention from someone else can feel intoxicating. A kind word, a deep conversation, a lingering touch. It's often not a grand romance that pulls her away, but the simple act of feeling truly seen. She doesn't want to leave her marriage. She doesn't want to hurt the man she built a life with. But when she feels emotionally starved, the temptation to experience warmth, passion, and appreciation somewhere else becomes harder to resist. She may start confiding in someone, enjoying their attention, and before she knows it, she's emotionally invested in a way she never intended. What most people don't understand is that affairs don't always begin with bad intentions. Sometimes they start in moments of vulnerability, a lonely night, a deep conversation with a friend, a compliment that lingers in her mind longer than it should. It's rarely about replacing her husband, it's about rediscovering a part of herself she thought was lost. But the truth is, affairs don't fix what's broken, they offer an escape, a temporary rush of feeling wanted again, but they also create more pain in the end. What most women truly want isn't another man, it's the version of their partner who once made them feel special, adored, and deeply connected. And sometimes all it takes to bring that back is for him to look at her the way he once did, to listen with the same curiosity, and to remind her that she is and always will be the woman he fell in love with. In the beginning, love feels electric. Every touch, every glance, every word carries an unspoken excitement. There's laughter, passion, stolen kisses, and late night conversations that stretch into the early hours. The world feels different when love is new. Every moment is an adventure, every interaction is filled with the thrill of discovery. But as time passes, routine settles in. The same faces, the same conversations, the same predictable patterns begin to replace the once intoxicating rush of love. It's not that the feelings disappear, it's just that they lose their spark. She never planned to crave something outside her marriage. She adores the life she built, the memories she shares, the stability of knowing she has someone to rely on, but deep inside, she starts to feel something missing. The excitement, the anticipation, the feeling of being swept off her feet. It all fades into the background of everyday life. The days begin to blur together, and without realizing it, she starts yearning for a feeling she can't quite name. Then, out of nowhere, something shifts. A stranger's lingering glance, an unexpected compliment, a conversation that feels just a little too engaging, and suddenly she remembers what it feels like to have butterflies again. It's not that she wants to betray her vows, and it's not that she doesn't love the man she's with. It's that for a moment she feels alive in a way she hasn't in years. There's an undeniable rush that comes from feeling desired, from knowing that someone finds her intriguing, captivating, irresistible, and that feeling it's addicting. It's not about finding a new love or seeking out an affair. It's about missing the fire, the spark, the thrill of something unexpected. She doesn't necessarily want a different man. She wants to feel that rush again, the one she felt when her own husband looked at her like she was the most exciting thing in his world. She wants passion, spontaneity, and to feel like she's not just a part of someone's routine, but the reason their heart beats a little faster. The truth is, women don't stray because they stop loving their husbands. They stray because they start to feel invisible, because the excitement of being wanted, pursued, and adored fades into the background of daily responsibilities. It's easy to forget that love needs to be nurtured, that desire needs to be kept alive, that passion isn't something that just exists, it's something that must be created over and over again. And in the end, she doesn't truly want to escape. What she really wants is for the man she fell in love with to remind her why she chose him in the first place. A spontaneous kiss, a deep conversation, an unexpected date night, a touch that lingers just a little longer. Sometimes it's the smallest things that bring the excitement back, because love doesn't die from time alone. It fades when it's taken for granted. And all she really wants is to feel that thrill again, with the man she promised forever to. A woman doesn't wake up one day and suddenly feel unwanted. It happens slowly, quietly, over time. In the beginning, she felt like the most beautiful woman in the world. The way he looked at her, the way he touched her, the way he admired every little thing about her, it made her glow from the inside out. She didn't need anyone else to tell her she was beautiful, because she could see it in his eyes, feel it in his embrace, hear it in his voice when he said her name. But as time passed, something changed. The compliments became rare, the affectionate touches turned into quick gestures, and the way he used to gaze at her like she was magic slowly faded into a glance that barely lingered. She still loves him. She still wants him. But there's a part of her that starts to wonder if he still sees her the same way. And when she steps outside of that comfort into a world where others notice her, where someone else gives her that lingering look, where a stranger's compliment makes her feel something she hasn't felt in years, it stirs something inside her. It's not about the words themselves, it's about the feeling they create, the feeling of being seen, admired, desired. She doesn't crave another man. She craves the version of herself that once felt irresistible, the version of herself that turned heads, that felt confident, that believed she was someone's greatest desire. When a woman starts feeling invisible in her marriage, even the smallest bit of attention from someone else can feel intoxicating. It's not because she's looking for an affair, it's because she's looking for reassurance that she's still special, still beautiful, still capable of making a man weak in the knees. And yet, deep down, she doesn't really want to find that validation elsewhere. She wants it from the man she built her life with. She wants him to look at her the way he used to remind her that she is still the woman who once made his heart race. She wants him to notice the way she does her hair, the way she dresses up, the little things she does to feel attractive, not just for herself, but for him. She doesn't need grand gestures or extravagant declarations. She just needs to feel like she still matters in that way. A simple compliment, a deep gaze, an unexpected touch. These are the things that keep the spark alive. Love doesn't fade because time passes. It fades when appreciation is lost, when effort disappears, when a woman who once felt like a goddess in her lover's eyes starts to feel like just another part of his routine. But when he reminds her that she is still the most beautiful thing in his world, when he shows her that his desire for her has never faded, that's when she knows she doesn't need anyone else. Because the only validation she truly wants is from the man who once made her feel like the most breathtaking woman he had ever seen. A woman doesn't wake up one day and decide to look for something outside her marriage. It happens in quiet, unnoticed moments, when she feels a need inside her that isn't being met, when the love that once filled her heart so effortlessly starts to feel distant, when the connection she once had with her partner feels more like a memory than a reality. It's not about wanting someone else. It's about wanting to feel something that has slowly disappeared. At first, she brushes it off. She tells herself that this is just what happens in long-term relationships, that passion fades, that routine takes over, that life is busy and exhausting. But deep down, she feels a longing, a desire for something deeper, something more intimate, something that reminds her of the way love used to feel. She doesn't necessarily need grand romantic gestures or extravagant surprises. She just wants to feel seen, heard, wanted. She wants to feel like more than just a wife, more than just a partner managing schedules and responsibilities. She wants to feel like a lover again. And when those needs go unmet for too long, something dangerous happens. She starts to notice the way someone else listens to her more intently, the way another man asks about her thoughts, her dreams, the little things her partner used to care about. She starts to feel something she hasn't felt in a long time, desired, appreciated, understood, not because she was looking for it, but because it was missing for so long that she almost forgot what it felt like. For most women, it's not just about physical intimacy, it's about emotional closeness. It's about feeling like she matters in a deeper way. If her partner no longer asks how she's feeling, if he no longer reaches for her hand just to hold it, if he no longer leans in just to steal a kiss, she starts to feel like something is missing. And when that emptiness grows, it becomes harder and harder to ignore. She doesn't want to betray her marriage. She doesn't want to break the bond she worked so hard to build. But when her needs, her emotional, romantic, and even physical needs are not met, she starts to feel a pull toward something that fills the space her partner once did. It's rarely a conscious choice. It's usually something that happens in small steps, moments of connection that feel innocent at first but slowly become something more. But the truth is, she doesn't truly want someone else. She wants her partner to see her again, to touch her without a reason, to ask her how she's really feeling, to show her that she's not just someone he shares a life with, but someone he still deeply desires. She wants to feel that fire again, not with a stranger, not with someone new, but with the person she fell in love with, because in the end, she doesn't want to stray. She just wants to feel like she's still worth chasing. She never wanted to hurt him. She never wanted to betray the vows she made, the love she once felt so deeply, the life they built together. But something inside her started to change the moment she felt ignored, unappreciated, or even worse, taken for granted. It wasn't sudden, it was slow, like a quiet erosion, a feeling that crept in over time. She tried to brush it off at first. She told herself that every relationship has ups and downs, that passion naturally fades, that people get comfortable. But comfort started to feel like distance. She no longer felt the warmth in his touch, the excitement in his eyes when he looked at her, the appreciation in his voice when she made an effort. It wasn't just the absence of grand romantic gestures, it was the absence of small, everyday things that made her feel loved. The way he used to kiss her forehead for no reason, the way he once reached for her hand just because, the way he used to listen, truly listen when she spoke. She started to wonder if he even noticed her anymore, if he still saw her the way he once did, if he still found her beautiful, intriguing, irresistible. And in that space of doubt, resentment began to grow. Because while she remained loyal, while she stayed, while she continued to give pieces of herself to him, she started to feel like she was getting nothing in return. And it hurt. It hurt in a way that words couldn't quite capture. That's when the thought entered her mind, uninvited, unexpected, but impossible to ignore. What if he felt what she felt? What if he knew what it was like to be overlooked, to feel like an afterthought? What if he understood the sting of being unappreciated? A small part of her wanted him to feel it, to experience the same kind of aching loneliness she had been carrying. Not to destroy him, not to break their bond completely, but to wake him up, to make him realize what he was losing before it was too late. For some women, straying isn't about falling in love with someone else, it's about proving a point. It's about taking back the power they feel they've lost. It's about finding a way to feel wanted again, even if it means stepping outside of the lines they once vowed never to cross. It's not always a conscious decision, but it comes from a place of deep hurt, a place where love still exists, but it no longer feels safe, warm, or fulfilling. But the truth is, revenge doesn't fix the problem, it only creates more pain. What she truly wants isn't to hurt him, it's to make him see her again, to make him remember what they had, to make him fight for her the way he once did. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't want to be with someone else. She just wants him to love her like he did before she ever thought of looking away. She never set out to cross a line. She never imagined she would be the kind of woman who would let another man's attention linger in her mind. But life has a way of surprising us, especially when we feel unseen, unheard, or unappreciated. It wasn't that she was looking for something outside her marriage, it was that one day it found her. It started in the smallest ways, a friendly conversation that felt a little too easy, a smile that lasted just a second too long, a compliment that made her feel something she hadn't felt in years. She wasn't searching for validation, but when it came, unexpected and effortless, it felt intoxicating. It reminded her of a version of herself she had almost forgotten, the woman who used to turn heads, the woman who used to laugh a little louder, flirt a little more, and feel completely alive in her own skin. At home, everything had become routine. Conversations were practical, touches were absent minded, and the spark that once lit up the room between them had dimmed into a quiet, flickering glow. She still loved him, still cared for him deeply, but the feeling of being truly wanted, of being desired beyond familiarity, had faded. It wasn't about wanting another man, it was about wanting to feel something again. And then opportunity presented itself. Maybe it was an old friend who suddenly reappeared. Maybe it was a coworker who always seemed to listen a little more intently. Maybe it was a stranger who made her feel beautiful in a way she hadn't felt in years. It wasn't about physical attraction alone. It was about emotional connection. The way he noticed things her husband no longer did. The way he laughed at her jokes, truly laughed, like he enjoyed every second in her presence, the way he looked at her like she was someone worth paying attention to. She knew the danger of it, she knew where it could lead, but temptation isn't always loud and obvious. Sometimes it's a whisper, a quiet pull toward something that feels good, even if it's not right. And once she allowed herself to lean into it, even just a little, it became harder to resist, because for the first time in a long time she felt like more than just a wife, more than just a mother, more than just a partner in a shared life. She felt like a woman again. She didn't want to betray the man she built her world with. She didn't want to lose the love they once had. But when attention, appreciation, and affection disappear at home, it becomes dangerously easy to find them elsewhere. And that's the heartbreaking truth. Most women don't stray because they stop loving their husbands. They stray because they miss feeling adored, valued, and deeply connected. What she truly wants isn't another man, it's for the man she married to see her again, to notice the little things, to remind her that the woman he once chased is still standing right in front of him, waiting to be wanted all over again. She never wanted to feel this way, torn between loyalty and longing, between the life she built and the emotions she could no longer ignore. She wasn't unhappy, not exactly, but she wasn't truly happy either. It was something in between, a quiet ache, a feeling of being emotionally disconnected from the man who once made her feel like the most important person in the world. At first, she convinced herself it was normal, that all relationships go through phases, that passion fades, that marriage isn't about constant excitement, but as time passed, that quiet ache grew stronger. She still shared a home, a life, and a history with her husband, but she no longer felt deeply connected to him. They talked, but not in the way they used to. They touched, but it no longer sent shivers through her skin. They loved each other, but it felt distant, like a habit rather than something alive. And then, somewhere along the way, someone else made her feel something again. It didn't happen overnight, it was a slow, dangerous shift. A friendship that grew too comfortable, a conversation that felt a little too intimate, a connection that made her heart beat a little faster. It wasn't about attraction alone, it was about feeling seen, understood, valued. It was about finding a spark she had forgotten existed. She never wanted to be the woman who considered stepping outside her marriage, but when emotional needs go unmet for too long, the heart starts searching, sometimes without even realizing it. She longed for deep conversations, for late night talks that had nothing to do with responsibilities or schedules. She longed for affection that wasn't just routine, a touch that lingered, a kiss that meant something, a look that made her feel desired. She didn't blame him, not completely. She knew life was exhausting. She knew work, stress, and responsibilities could drain a person. But what she couldn't understand was why he stopped trying, why he stopped seeing her the way he once did, why he no longer made her feel like she was worth the effort. And when another man did, when someone else reminded her of what it felt like to be admired, to be wanted, to be truly desired, it shook her. She didn't want to leave. She didn't want to break the life they built. But she also didn't want to spend the rest of her years feeling lonely in a relationship that was supposed to make her feel whole. And that's where the battle in her heart began. She could walk away from the temptation, but she couldn't walk away from the realization that something was missing. The truth is, she didn't need another man to fill the void. She needed her husband to step back into the space he once occupied, to fight for her, to look at her like she was still the woman he couldn't live without. Because all she truly wanted was to feel that connection again, with the man she fell in love with. She never thought she would feel this kind of emptiness. Not in a marriage that once felt so full, so alive. In the beginning, love was effortless. Every touch, every glance, every whispered word carried a spark that made her heart race. She felt wanted, cherished, and deeply connected. But over time, that connection faded. Not in a sudden, dramatic way, but in small, quiet moments that went unnoticed. It was in the way he no longer reached for her hand just because. The way their conversations became more about responsibilities than about dreams, desires, or feelings. The way he walked past her in the kitchen without stealing a kiss, the way he climbed into bed without pulling her close. She still loved him, still cared, but she started to wonder, did he still crave her the way he once did? Did he still see her as the woman he couldn't wait to hold, to touch, to lose himself in? Or had she just become a familiar presence, a part of the background of his life? She never wanted to find herself longing for something more. She never wanted to be the woman who lay awake at night remembering how passion once felt, how desire once burned between them. But when intimacy becomes routine, when kisses become pecks, when touches feel obligatory, when passion is replaced by familiarity, something inside her starts to wither. She doesn't want just physical closeness. She wants to feel desired deeply and fully. She wants to be pulled into his arms with urgency, to feel his hands on her skin like he can't get enough of her. She wants to feel like a lover again, not just a wife, not just a partner in a shared life. And then, out of nowhere, something or someone reminds her of what she's missing. It could be a scene in a movie, a song that stirs something deep inside her, or a stranger's lingering gaze that makes her feel beautiful in a way she hasn't felt in years. It's not about wanting another man, it's about missing the woman she used to be when passion was alive, when intimacy was raw and electric. She starts to crave that feeling again, that fire, that sense of being completely consumed by love. She doesn't want to betray him. She doesn't want to walk away from the life they built. She just wants him to see her again, not as the woman he's grown used to, but as the woman he once couldn't resist. She wants to be kissed like it's the first time, touched like he's memorizing her all over again, loved like she is still the most beautiful thing in his world. Because love doesn't fade with time, it fades when effort disappears. And she doesn't need a new love story. She just needs him to remind her that their story, the one they started together, is still worth fighting for. That she is still the woman he desires, the woman he would chase all over again.